How are you? And welcome to another episode of the Woman Who Roar IGTV series. And today's guest, y'all, it's Friday. So I wanted us to have a conversation that was unfiltered, fluid, candid, raw to the core. And my guest today, Passport Cuddy, is exactly that. She is an author, a blogger, and she speaks mainly to the thoughts us girls always have in our heads when it comes to relationships, when it comes to sex, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to financial stability. She has managed to create a career encompassing all of those things. And if you've come across her on social media, she is probably your favorite bestie in your head. I know she is definitely mine, and I see that she's in the room, so I'm going to invite her in so we can get started. All right. Here we go. We are connecting. Boom. Drink some cafecito while she comes in. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Hey.
Hi.
How you doing, gorgeous?
Thank you. Thank you. You look so cute. Like,
Oh,
nice
thank you.
natural.
Thank you
Like,
so
I have to
much.
put on something so I can look decent.
I know. I be really trying just to look decent. The basic line is what I try to come in at, because I'm like, listen, I'm going to take advantage of this here quarantine, okay?
Right. Yeah, for sure. I actually looked at my nails today and was like, you know what? They're growing.
Girl,
Instead of
I have
breaking.
nubs right now. I have nubs right now. It is
Yeah,
not a
me
cute
too.
scene at all.
Me too.
Yeah.
I look 4.
I look like I'm stressed because
Yeah.
they look crazy. They look crazy.
I actually did my toes the other day too.
Oh, you did? Okay, so you maintaining the cute girl. I still have a pedicure that I got done like a month ago.
All right.
And because I did the whole gel thing, it's still presentable. So I'm looking all right. I'm looking all right down there. But thank you so much for being on the series. I'm so excited to talk to you because I have been a follower.
Is so cool.
Thank you. I have been a follower for so long, and this Women Who Roar series is all about basically me interviewing women that I have admired from afar and women that I have grown to love from a distance through social media. And that is definitely how I feel about you. So welcome.
Thank you.
And I want to start with the line of work that you do. First, tell the people what you do.
So right now, it started off as just social media for leisure. But then like, as I started going on with my journey, it was like me just going through life and everything that I learned. It was like, as soon as I learned this lesson, I need to share it with people. I need to help other people, So I went from being this person who was just talking on the internet about my life to like really trying to help everybody else. So now I call myself like this unconventional life coach. But I wrote the book about 3 years ago. So now I'm an author. I was podcasting. I'm like debating whether or not I'm going back to podcasting because I really want to get into TV. So I don't know if I'm going to like try to do everything all at once or keep on focusing. But for right now, like I'm writing and I do a lot of like consulting. Well, I call them Cuddy calls, but it's been going really well where people are calling and talking to me privately about their situations. Not only romantic, it's just, whatever they want, whether it's career, romantic, just relationships with their friends, their family, how to handle things, So I do like a little bit of everything, but what I really focus on right now is writing.
So tell the people, is it that you have a specialty in? Because I have my own synopsis of it. But from your perspective, what is your expertise in?
I think it's just being relatable, to be honest, because I can't necessarily say like I'm a relationship expert. I'm a sex expert. I'm an expert in anything. But the reason why people like me so much is the transparency and the relatability. Every time I'm talking about something, I'm not saying it from a way where it's like I'm on this pedestal talking, like I'm far removed from this life, this world. So people are like, oh, okay, I can be myself with her. I can, confide in her. I can look to her for honesty, transparency. And I think that's what makes people like me so much, because I'm like not trying to be this person who used to be that. It's like somebody who's like still always working through things and like showing you how I got through it. And sometimes I didn't even get over it. I'm like, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Like even like, let's say for example, even finances. I speak about finances all the time. Credit, saving, investing, all of that stuff. There's times where I'll tell people like, yeah, this was not a good year for me. I spent all my money, so it's
Right.
not like I'm going to make it seem like I'm this person who just is not, like once I get over something, I'm so far removed from it that I don't relate. And now I'm just like pointing the finger at you. So, I mean, relatability is probably what I feel like people like me the most for.
Yeah. And I think that is definitely a skill and part of
Yeah.
your magic, because not only are you relatable on something that people might consider professional, like finances, but you
Right.
also open up a lot of your personal self to
Yeah.
your audience and to the world, like about relationships,
Yeah.
about, your dating life,
Mm-hmm.
about your sexual encounters, all
Yep.
of those things. So you manage to kind of package yourself in this way where you're like the girl from around the way who's going to tell you like it is and give you that real, homegirl advice that we're all looking for.
Because I never got that though. That's why I'm like so adamant about being that for somebody else. I've never had somebody who was showing me the ropes at all. Like I've been the only child for my whole life. I didn't get a sibling until I was 26 years old. So it was like, and then I was raised by my grandmother. She was already older. I didn't have nobody who was really like, don't do this. Guys are going to say this. Like, or just all the things that I've been through, I was never prepped, never even warned or anything. So it was like, now that's my mission. My mission is like, hey, watch out. Because this is going to, I've been through this. This is going to happen. They're going to say this. They're going to do this. Be careful of that, so that's something that's like really important to me.
Shout out to everybody in here, by the way. I see y'all feeling my little boss lady cup. I think amongst bosses today, so I gotta bring the cup to the show. So what I admire about you the most is your authenticity. Thank you. Is your transparency. And I find that a lot of women have a very hard time, not even women, men as well, have a very hard time living in their truth and being comfortable in their own skin. So were you always this way, or did something happen that made you this way? How are you so comfortable?
Recently a lot of people have been asking me that question lately, and it started to make me realize that I think that well, once I got on the internet, it was like it was a mystery. Like nobody who knew who I was. So it's like, I guess it was like all of these things that were inside of me that were hurting or were, I wanted to talk about it or wanted to have a conversation about, like get it out, but there was nobody to really talk to. So the internet was like this electronic diary for me. So it was like, I'm spilling out how I'm feeling. I'm spilling out what's going on. At first, nobody knew me. So it was fine.
Right. But you was like, no big deal.
Right. But then once I started doing that, people actually started paying attention. And then that's how the popularity grew. So it was like a gift and a curse, because it was like, now that transparency allowed people to pay attention. But now everybody does see me. Like I have made a name for myself. I did start to be seen, but it was the response from those people, which was like, oh my God, me too. Like that Me Too thing makes people feel like it's not so bad to feel this way. It's not so bad to talk about these things. Oh, actually, me saying something actually helped that person, or them saying something actually helped me. Because there's plenty of times that I've seen somebody else's tweet and I'm like, oh my God, I feel seen. So like, I know that that's how people felt when it was the other way around. So it was like, once I started realizing that it like helped people, and the embarrassment or any sort of like fear that, business or how my feelings or my emotions were being put out there didn't really matter. So it was like, now that I'm getting this response, and it was such a good response. Don't get me wrong, there's been, of course, negative response, but it didn't outweigh the good. So it was like, once the good started, you know, the good started feeling good, it was like, oh my goodness, people are emailing, people are DMing, people are, you know, coming to events, and, you know, like, people are stopping me in the street. Oh my God, I follow you, I like you, you know, like, and it's like, oh, I'm doing something good. Okay. So it just really started motivating me to just keep on doing it more.
Right. And it's so interesting because originally you wanted to be a teacher, right?
I wanted to be an English teacher.
Yeah.
So
you wanted to be an English teacher.
Like, people are like, huh? Like, how? But I always wanted to write. I really loved writing. I always loved writing. And also, my grandmother was a teacher. And so, like, everything, she used to, like, take me to work with her all the time. And it was just like, I don't know. I just always wanted to be. There was no other profession that I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that,
I mean, you're not,
I was able to write online. So once I was able to write, it was like, then it kind of just turned into something else. So
you do this full time? This is your full time?
Yeah, I used to work in luxury retail for the last 4 years, and then I quit in last year, a year ago to now, and now I do it full time. I was doing both for a while, and it was a lot. it was a lot.
Did you have, like, your bosses or coworkers ever come up to you and be like,
oh yeah,
that's inappropriate, I don't know if you can work here anymore?
No. What happened was, when I first started working there, I was 100% incognito. Nobody knew. I was, you know, just doing my job. Mm-hmm. And then maybe like a year and a half into working there, I'm like talking to my boss, and then, like, people will be like, oh my God, I love you. Like, in the store, like, people will pass by, like, oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, I read your book. Like, I think I had just, like, come out with the book, and then my boss would look at me and be like, huh? Well, like,
why they love you? What's going on?
Yeah, like, and I'm like, whatever. And then it was like more and more happening. No, actually, it was before the book. Before the book, people would just say, you know, like, oh, I watch you every morning. I like your stuff, whatever. And then I started writing the book. And then people would, like, catch me on my lunch break, writing, like, editing you know, they're like, what is she, are you at school? What's going on? Like, and I'm like, oh yeah. And then it dropped. And then after that, it was like, maybe it might have been 2 years by now. I'm not sure, but I did a West Indian video about macaroni and cheese. Or no. It was like, I did about not dating West Indian guys. I did a video about and that, like, went viral on Facebook, got like 1 million and some change views in like a couple of days or whatever. And then the whole store wound up finding out. And then they were like, did you see her video? And I'm like, now I'm seeing everybody. It was like, and because I'm so, like, I really have like an alter ego, that, like, Cuddy is like an alter ego. So I'm super shy, reserved, quiet in person. So they're like, we found you on the internet? Oh my God, who is that? Like, why? Like, you are not like that at work. So it was like that. And then my manager started being like, Cuddy, you were late. And I'm like, Cuddy? You didn't call me Cuddy for the first 3 years I started working here. Now all of a sudden you're calling me Cuddy? So it just started getting too much, you know? It was a lot. It was a lot. And then once I started, like, selling more books, selling more merchandise, I was late to work. I was calling out. I went on tour. I was like, it was like, I gotta go. Yeah.
It's time for me to do my own thing now.
Yeah, because it was, I couldn't hide anymore. I couldn't, you know, I couldn't keep it separate anymore. It was too much. Too much. But And it was like they were pulling from each other.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not doing a good job at work because I'm trying to be productive, like shipping out stuff and, you know, being on tour and all of that stuff. But that, like, in the cracks of my days off and my, you know, before work or after work, my schedule. And then after that, or I'm not doing what I need to do for Cuddy because I got to work. So I was like, you know what? All right, I got to go. Yeah. But I mean,
this all started from your boyfriend went to jail, right?
Yeah. So, and I actually had a live yesterday where I told this story. Like I was like 20, it might have been like 22, 23. And then my boyfriend went to jail and he was taking care of me at the time. Like I didn't have any like real big bills and stuff like that. And so I wasn't working. I was just doing like traveling, doing whatever. And then like one of my friends was like, you ain't doing nothing with yourself. You need to get on Twitter. Fabulous is so funny on there. He be doing the trending topics. And I'm like, what? Twitter, huh? And she was the same one who put me onto Facebook. Back like pre-Twitter was like that she put me onto Facebook and MySpace and all of that before that. So then that's when I got on and like to keep myself entertained. And then like when he used to call from jail, I used to be like, babe, I got 600 followers. He's like, what the fuck is that? And he was a drug dealer, so he definitely wasn't into the internet stuff. So he was like, followers? What the fuck? You're talking to strangers? I'm like, no, but it's really cool. You don't understand it. Like more and more people are following me. He's like, okay.
He's
but
like, that's against the code. You're supposed to be chill. Right.
He only had 8 months though, so it wasn't like he was even in there for mad long. So when he came out, he was like, you talking to strangers on the internet? What the fuck is like? He was definitely like, the world just evolved, like did a whole turn in those 8 months that he was away. He didn't even know what was going on.
That's so funny. It's so funny because I feel like a lot of women have a lot of stories like that something came about as a result of a breakup or something happened between you and your man and then you evolved into this and you became...
My best content is when I'm going through mad drama. When me and my dude are great, I'm so boring. I'm like, I have nothing bad to say. Like even now he'll be like, you owe me some motherfucking money. And I'm like, how? He's like, I'm your whole everything. Like every single thing that you, like, I've given you all the context.
Right.
I'm like,
he's like, I'm your subject matter. Like,
yes.
I need a cut.
Always says that. But like, it's true. It's true. Like that's the same thing with like music. When like girls are so in love, nobody don't want to hear that shit.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know why people relate to the negative stuff so much more than they do the positive stuff, because it's like, it's true. Like people, we will say, we do talk about the negative stuff, the toxic stuff, the dramatic stuff way more than we do the good stuff. And then for some strange reason, as soon as somebody's like talking about how in love they are, how happy they are, everybody's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Like, oh my God, you're so, you know, like nobody wants to hear that. But it's like, you talk about, all these guys are so trash, they're liars, they're cheaters, they're this, they're that, blah, blah. The girls that they be fucking with, they're bitches, you know, they're ugly, they're this, they're that, like, oh, they're baby mom, all of this stuff. And everybody's like, yeah. And I'm like, it's true. Like,
it's because it's so relatable. Like, there's so many people who unfortunately live in drama.
Yeah, that's me.
So they're
that's
like,
me. I'm very dramatic. It was so funny because when people say like, oh my God, like, why are you always dealing with these type of guys that like make you talk about this type of stuff? I'm like, yeah, I'm like the same way. So I'm like, just as toxic. I'm just as
it's
dramatic.
How we love. It's how we love.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, girl.
Do you have a favorite story that you've shared since you started this journey? Do you have a favorite story?
Oh God, I'm a storyteller. All I do is tell stories. All I do is tell stories like every day. Some of the people on here could probably tell me what their favorite story is. Oh my God, I have so many. Let me think. Favorite story. I think one of my favorite stories that comes from Twitter and the internet that didn't have anything. It wasn't like it was in my real life, But one of the stories that I tell like so passionately is like this. I found my I found a girl in my boyfriend's phone, and I didn't know who she was. She was beautiful though. I was pissed. I was like,
who said you could know pretty girls? Who said you could know pretty girls?
But you know, it's so funny because what happened was this guy, I know it's hard to say like guys have a type because we always say like, yeah, they have a type, but then they really
exactly, they come out of left field like,
right, you be like,
really, huh, really.
But this particular guy that I was with, he really had a type. Like, he might have fucked whoever, but you knew who he was gonna like, and they were usually like petite girls with short hair, whatever. I done caught him with a whole bunch of girls over the time, whatever. But if she had a weave, I'll be like, oh, he don't like her for real. She got a weave. Oh, she got a son. Oh, he don't like girls with kids. He don't really fuck with her. Like, whatever. But then there was this one time that this girl was, I found her in his phone. She was so cute. She had short hair. She had sent him a picture of her titties. She had really nice titties. I was like, ah! And this was like a long time ago. I didn't even have breast for her. I was like a 34B or A or something. I don't know. But so I'm looking on the pictures that she sent him, and there was this one that was a screenshot from Instagram. And I was like, so I went to her Instagram. I was trying to see if there's anybody new that I followed her. And there was this one guy, and he was this guy. I didn't know him in person, but there was this one guy from Twitter, and that I used to talk to all the time. And I'm like, oh, if he follows her, he must know her. So I hit him up, and I was like, hey, you know her? Like, who's that? He was like, yeah, why? And I was like, my man is fucking with her right now, I think, or whatever. And he was like, oh, well, if he fucking Tiffany, you got a problem because he ain't gonna stop fucking with Tiffany because Tiffany do everything.
Oh my God.
What is she doing? What is she doing to him? Everything. What does that mean? Like, what does everything mean? And he's like, I used to fuck with Tiffany, you know, like whatever. Long story short, and the story is much longer, but I'm trying to like speed it up. A couple of weeks later, we find out that, mind you, when he tells me about Tiffany, I'm ready to kill Tiffany because I want to know what
we don't like Tiffany. Right.
Everything. Because I'm like, I don't know what I could do to compete with Tiffany now because Tiffany's pretty. She got nice titties. She got short hair, and she does everything. And my man is like texting her, telling her like, oh, he want to see her and all this stuff. And then, like, a couple of weeks later, we find out on Twitter that this guy is a catfish. So the guy
that you asked,
was not who he said he was.
Okay.
So he had stolen somebody else's whole identity. For all of this time, we'd been on the timeline with this guy talking to him. We thought we knew everything about him. He was Jamaican. He had 4 kids. He was from Brooklyn. He was a Leo. We knew this guy so much. Like, he was on the timeline with us talking all day. He used to talk about horoscopes, this, that, whatever. And then the next thing I know, we find out that the guy whose identity he stole was like online, like, nigga, you was posting my kids? Like, are you crazy? What the fuck? Like, so he done stole his whole identity. And now I asked this person who doesn't really exist, like he exists, but we don't know who he really is. And I was like, yo, I was gonna go to jail because he told me Tiffany do everything. And I'm like, and I'm wondering, like, how's he following her? And how's she following him? Like, I still to this day do not have an answer for this story. All I know is the timeline was catfished, and I felt like if I was any more impulsive, I would have took that information and found her ass and beat her up or tried to kill her because he made me believe that I had no wins against Tiffany. I was like, oh my God. That's like one of my favorite ones. But they, in the comments, they love my happy ending story from India.
Yeah, I was listening to that earlier today. I was like, okay. I didn't even know that women get happy endings too.
Me
I thought that
neither,
was
girl.
a straight man thing. I was like, oh,
Me
okay.
neither.
Interesting. Somebody in here said, everything that screams liar, Brooklyn, Leo, Jamaica.
Yeah.
So what ended up, so did you like approach your man about Tiffany ever?
Oh yeah. I eventually ran her away. Not like I just kept on catching him. So he wasn't that invested as I thought. So he was like, oh fuck it. But it was short lived, but ooh, it killed me. It killed me. I still remember that time.
So I want to transition into where did the name Passport Cuddy come from?
It came from Chris Rock. So what happened is
On
one of Chris Rock's stand-up, and I talk about this in the book, is like in the introduction, in the beginning, I put that because I know that's like a number one thing. Chris Rock had a stand-up where he said, like, men can't go backwards in lifestyle. I mean, in sexual. Men can't go backwards sexually, and women can't go backwards in lifestyle. So he said, you know, you do something new sexually for a guy, and every time you do something with her after that, he's like, do that little thing that you did last time. He's like, you know, he always wants you to go to the next level. Once you like start opening that door sexually. And then for women, once you introduce her to a new lifestyle, finding things in life, she's like, yeah, I like it here. Like, I like this life. I'm not going backwards. So he's like, if you were doing all of that stuff for her, you lose your job, you come home, you be like, babe, I lost my job. She's like, all right, don't worry about it. We'll get rid of some of the stuff. And he's like, yeah, that's you. She's going to get rid of you. He said, ladies, you remember the first time that that a man ever took you on vacation? You wanted every guy after that to take you on vacation.
Right.
He said, yeah.
Like,
she's like, this is passport pussy. You can't handle all of this in one area, though. And I was like, that is me. What? Oh my God. I tell people all the time, I used to be a sugar mama, for real.
Oh, okay.
It's hard to believe, but I used to be a sugar mama. I used to buy my dudes everything.
Oh, they must have loved you.
Oh, they loved me. As long as he was on my hip, I didn't want him to go nowhere. If he stayed with me for 6 days straight, he was like, yo, I gotta go home. I gotta get some clothes. I'll buy you a new outfit. I'll buy you new clothes. I'll buy you boxes. I'll buy you like whatever. I mean, that was short-lived, and that was like when I was really young. But then I met this guy. When I met this guy the first time, and he introduced me to like spending money and giving me money, I was like, guys have money? Like, I didn't know guys had money. But I was like only 21. I was 21, so I wasn't that late, you know. But so once that I was like, yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. Like once I realized that there was a whole nother life out there, I was like, for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to switch it. So have you been able to meet Chris Rock yet?
No, but you know what's so funny? I saw him in New Jersey in the mall one day. And I'm shy. Like, I wanted to say something so bad, but I'm like, you know, like, but one day I want to meet that man. He's actually my favorite comedian. So I hope one day I do get to meet him.
You will.
He kind of like helped because people really are intrigued by the name as well. They're definitely like, okay, that's cool. What's that about? You know?
Right. Yeah.
So he definitely did help to give me a little boost in popularity. Yeah, I do want to meet him for sure.
You will meet him. I can feel it.
I hope so.
Yes. So let's talk about the book now. So the book, The M in Men, is for money.
Yeah. So
is that how you derived at the name as well? Once somebody exposed you to men actually spoiling women, you was like, oh, okay. So
yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Kinda. This title came from a tweet that was something that I just made up out of my head that was very, that went viral years ago. I might have said it in like 2012 or 11. It said the M in man is for money. A man with no money is an N. A-N. And A-N stands for another nigga because that's what I'm going to find me. And everybody was like, oh my God. And like I said, this is stuff that I was saying years ago. Mm-hmm. It wasn't as common now to be saying those things out loud. Like,
right.
Yeah, guys are for money. Pay me if you want to have sex with me, give me, like those type of things. It was still new. Like this Twitter, that platform for everybody to see what everybody else is saying was just a new platform that people were not used to. Yeah, we had Facebook before, we had MySpace, stuff like that, but people weren't talking so candidly like they are, and it wasn't like laid out for everybody to see and to share with other people. So I was one of the first people, I want to say, I was one of the people in the beginning when Twitter was very popular for these things, these like taboo things to be said. And that's how I really got my popularity, because I'm saying these things and it's new, like Twitter, we started 2009. So within the first 3 years, that's really when I got my reputation, because it was like, it was new and people were like, oh shit. Right. And they might have been saying these things behind closed doors, but nobody's really, nobody's saying it in public. Yeah. So I took just the first part of that tweet and made it the title, but it was really because the theme of it was that was like the theme of my life for like the last 10 years. Like once I met that guy and he started, and he introduced me to him paying for me, him giving me money, him spending money. It was like, that was what I expected now from every single guy. And then I did whatever I could to try to make it into my favor, like, and turn it into that situation again. Right. Because before it was me just wanting whatever I wanted. So I would pay for it. And that's why I really don't even understand why guys get so offended at the idea of it. Because as a woman, I was doing it when I wanted what I wanted. Mm-hmm. I wanted this cute guy. I wanted this guy to stay with me. I wanted this guy to like not go anywhere. I wanted this guy to go out with me. I wanted this guy to go on a trip with me. All of this stuff, I pay for it, So I don't see why they are so like, not insulted, but like offended that we have this idea. Because I'm like, it's just what people do. It's not really a man thing. It's like, get with the time. It's a control thing. It's a human thing. It's an alpha thing. It's a person who just wants what they want, but people don't want to admit that. That's why I don't mind admitting, like, I was a sugar mom at one point. Why? Because I wanted it to go how I wanted it to go, and I didn't want any objections. Like, if I was going to Miami and I wanted you to go with me, I didn't want you to tell me you didn't have no money, you didn't have no passport, you didn't have no clothes, you didn't have no, you needed to work because you got to pay your phone bill on Friday. No, I got it all. Don't worry about it. Let's go, Right. So once it happened for me that way, where the guy started paying, it was like, that was the theme from then until now. But then it evolved. It's not just about guys giving us money. It was the fact that there were so many women who are in situations that get absolutely nothing out of their situations. So money, and I was talking about this yesterday, like money is symbolic, really. Like money is not necessarily only about money. Money is a date. Money is, a callback. Money is, a trip. Money is whatever, because there's so many women who don't get anything that I'm like, but why is it that you're not benefiting in any sort of way? And it's because they can't speak up. Mm-hmm. So this book was really like an attempt to try to teach women not only how to speak up, but the logic behind why they should. Mm-hmm. Because it's not commonly admitted, but there's so many women who are in situations with men that have situations. So like, or are in situations with men who say they don't want to be serious. They're not ready for a relationship. They're not ready for marriage. They're dating other women, whatever. And I'm like, so identify what it is that you want from him. And you better make sure that you get that while you're dealing with him, right?
Right.
And then, so these girls are like, oh my God, I can't say that. I can't do that. I can't look like that. What is he going to think of me? And my biggest thing is me trying to get women to stop caring so much about what guys think about them and care more about what they think about the guy. And I'm like, you care if he's going to think you're a gold digger, but you don't, but he doesn't mind that you think he's cheap. Like, he doesn't care.
Right.
It doesn't even cross his mind that you may not appreciate him wanting to split this bill or not pay for your cab or not pay for your hair or not, invite you out or whatever. And they're like, oh, but behind closed doors, they're constantly like, they like this. They're on the phone with you? Girl, and can you believe that he did not even do this and he didn't do that and he did, and I'm like, so why you can't say that? Why can't you tell him everything you just told me? And they're like, wait, like that? Like, what do you want me to? And I'm like, if you don't like how the situation's going anyway, what are you really losing?
Right.
He's not doing anything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you lose? You lose the person who's not doing anything already?
Right.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So what is your favorite chapter in the book?
I think my favorite chapter is probably Power of the Pussy. Well, it's a tie between the first chapter, which is the women who fail with flying colors, and Power of the Pussy, because it's really tied, because the first chapter with the women who fail with flying colors, it's identifying the women who I feel have difficulty getting anything or quote unquote money out of guys, right? And I think I made that chapter first because I wanted so many women to identify who they were before they even go forward. And like, once I made that the first chapter, and that's like the number one thing that I get contacted about. They're like, oh my God, I'm the independent woman. Oh my God, I'm the girl who has sex too fast. Oh my God, I'm the girl who has no game. Like, so yeah. I do want women to see, especially, I think that most people identify with the independent woman, the overly independent woman. And that's why I put it first, because they think that because they're independent, they can't set these expectations and these standards for people, because then it's going to make them look any less independent. Mm-hmm. Or because they're going to be like, well, they're going to think, why does she need this if I know she makes X amount of dollars? Mm-hmm. So right. And the Power of the Pussy one is really for women to understand that the power is in the unknown. Once you have sex with anybody, you have just like placed a bet. You're gambling, because you just really do not know. It's really like roulette, you know, like you have no idea what's going to happen afterwards.
Right. Will he stay? Will he go? What's happening now?
And the thing is that sometimes women just have this thing about them where they really believe that they're going to fuck somebody so good that they're going to be
mind blown. Like, he's going to fall in love.
Exactly. And they are just going to fall all into their lap. Like they're going to blow their socks off and they're going to get everything that they want after that. And I'm like, no, because you could have done the greatest job ever, but prior to you doing it, he thought that you were going to be the greatest thing ever anyway. You know what I mean? Because that's what they think about every girl. That's why, like, I always say, like, every single girl, they think that this pussy pussy is gonna be the best pussy they never had. You know, that's why they need it so bad. Like, this girl looks so good. Her body is so crazy. Oh, her lips are so big. It's gonna feel even great. You know, like, whatever they think. Like, it's like, it's one of those situations where it's like, we just don't even believe. I mean, they don't remind themselves like that. The last person they thought it was going to be so great, it wasn't probably all that great either. Same thing with us. Like, I always say, like, there was even times that I had a boyfriend who had the worst dick in the world. Oh my God. It was the worst. It was so bad. But I loved him so much. He was so fine. He had everything. He just was the shit. And every single time we used to do it, I used to be like, yo, you are so dumb. You keep on thinking it's going to get better. And it's not. It's like, it's still whack. Right. It's like the same thing for them. Like, they keep on thinking that this next girl is going to be the greatest they never had. So it's like, you just got to keep that mystery going for as long as you can. And then, you know, we'll see what happens. But the more he's invested sex, the less likely he's going to be to stop fucking with you after. You know, because he's like, man, I done did all of this stuff. She cool. You know, like, I fuck with her. I'll keep her around. Otherwise, you do it too fast. You're just, like, he's not invested. He don't even know you. He doesn't care. It doesn't matter. You know, so. Oh,
what's
God.
the number one thing? So I know you have these Cuddy calls, and I know a lot of people come to you for advice. What is, like, the common thing that you hear over and over again when people come to you?
It's usually about, this is what I was talking about before, like, a lot of people are in situations with men who have other women, and they don't want to admit that publicly anyway, you know? So they feel comfortable talking to me about it, and then they just don't know how to really put things in their favor to, like, benefit from that situation. Like, they'll know that this guy is either cheating or has multiple women or has a husband has a wife or
maybe a husband.
Yeah, whatever, right? Whatever. And they have so much difficulty expressing to the guy why they should be doing more, why the guy should be doing more for them, knowing that they're settling. And I'm like, there's literally no other way to say it besides that. You know that I know you have a situation. Why should I be here? What is my benefit? Like, because I don't judge people who are in that situation. I was in that situation for so long, knowingly, unknowingly, you know, like, willingly, unwillingly. Right. Even if you're with a guy and he's cheating, you're still in that situation. Like, you know, so I don't judge that. But I also say, like, you definitely should be benefiting. Like, I don't want to be dealing with, because I tell people all the time, every situation that you have is not necessarily a relationship, you know? But even if it's a situationship, you still should be benefiting. So it's like, I'm constantly, like, getting calls about women complaining about not really getting the maximum benefit of this guy, and especially from guys that they know have it, right? So they'll be like, and I know he has it, and he's not doing anything. He's not paying this, and he's not paying that. He doesn't buy this, and he's so, you know, like, whatever. And I know he got a girl, and I know he got a girl at home. I mean, I know he got a wife, and I'm like, so why is it so hard? So, like, that's, like, I would say that's, like, one of the number one things. So I'm constantly having to say to girls, like, listen, you're already not getting enough. So either you fall back or you open your mouth and you be like, this situation is not benefiting me enough for me having to deal with this. You know, right. On top of that, you know, guys don't want you to talk to nobody else.
Right.
So it's like, they could know that you know they have a situation and they still don't want you to talk to anybody else. So I can't talk to anybody else. And I'm not getting everything that I want.
Right.
So that's the second one, the second most popular one is dating. Like, where do I find guys? How do I talk to guys? What do like, yeah, the where do I find guys thing is like the number one thing for the single women. And I'm like, you're inside the house. You're not going anywhere. So then get on an app. Get on a dating website, answer some DMs, like reply to some DMs.
Right.
Like, be in somebody's comments. Something.
The internet is where they at.
Yeah, like
where they are.
If you're not gonna go outside,
right,
and you're not gonna online date, where do you think that you're gonna find this guy? So it's like those two things: girls who are in situationships, and then the other one is the single girls who want to go outside. And I'm like constantly telling people like, and I always ask like, do you talk to guys? Like, do you try to holler at guys, or do you approach guys? And they're like, no. I'm like, I don't have a problem with approaching guys, to be honest.
Same.
Some girls, they're like, no, the guy's supposed to be doing it to me. Like, they're just, they like it traditional. They don't want that pressure or whatever. And I tell them, these are the tips that I always share with girls. Sometimes talking to a guy does not mean that you have to look all thirsty and be like, hey, are you single? Like, do you want my number? Like, it's not that.
Right.
Or you could be at a bar and like turn to the guy next to you and be like, what did you order? Like, you see him eating and it's like, oh, what did you order?
Right.
Like, that's not a flirt. It's nothing. It's like just turning on that, opening up that.
Just communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so much more simple because then the guy might start talking to them. But you didn't even try to you didn't look thirsty. You didn't seem like you were trying to hit on him. You just asked a simple question like, oh, what are you drinking? Or what did you order? And then they might answer. Like, some guys, they might answer and go right back to their food and be like, or, then after that, they'll like move a little closer, or they're, like start opening the more dialogue. I'm like, it doesn't have to be like you chasing after them, but you could just at least, because sometimes guys don't know if you're there by yourself. So if you start talking to them first, then they don't have to wait till you get your entree for them to be like, oh, she's dining alone tonight. Like, that's a good way. Like, as soon as you get to the bar, and like the type of bars that you go to, like you got to go to the sports bars, you got to go to the sports bars, you got to go to the steak houses around, like, right after work and all of that,
Right.
And then, so when you go and you like, well, that's the subtle way, but lately people been like, I just send a guy a drink. I'm like, okay, I haven't done that yet. But
maybe back in the days when you were on that, sugar mama tip, but now it's like,
I don't, but it's been, all of these things work.
Right.
All of these things work.
Yeah.
For sure.
So this is a question that, I have 2 questions left, and Instagram's going to cut us off, so let's try to make it quick. So what advice do you have for people who are dimming their light? Because I feel like you are living out loud and you are living brightly. So what is your advice for people who are struggling with that?
So one thing that keeps me going is, and every single time I get a little, because I have those times where I'm insecure, I'm not shining as bright as I want to and whatever. But it's really me saying to myself, you have one life. If you, like, I was telling somebody the other day that, like, if you really don't do what you want to do now, when are you ever going to be able to do it? So, like, there's really, it's so cliche, but at the end of and all of us have bad days. I think that sometimes we got to stop guilting ourselves for so much stuff. Like, everything is like guilting ourselves. You want to relax today? You don't want to clean? You feel guilty. You don't want to do the laundry? You feel guilty. You don't, like, create a business this year? You don't have $100,000 saved? Every single thing that you don't have, you feel guilty about. And like, you're always like putting yourself down instead of like, one of my friends, it was like so simple, but it was a couple of years ago. I was like, oh my God, I really want to relax, but I gotta clean. And she's like, well, tell yourself you're gonna clean tomorrow. You know, like, so you can relax. Because at the end of the day, you're not cleaning and you're not relaxing. So like, this whole day is just freaking wasted. I'm like, oh, okay. And that was like life changing for me, because after that, I started like really cutting myself some slack. So it was like, some days I'll be like, I'm going to relax today. I'm going to write today. I'm going to, this year, I'm going to say, like, setting goals is really important. I never used to, and that's why I never hit them. Once I didn't set, I didn't want to hold myself accountable. So it's like, you really, but don't be so realistic. Don't be so unrealistic. Sometimes if you know your personality, like, I know that I'm super, I don't have a lot of discipline. I know that I'm a procrastinator. I know that, I don't really like working hard. Like, I want to go at my own pace. So you got to set realistic goals for yourself. Listen, if today I know, like, sometimes for the whole day, my only goal may be to do the laundry. And that's my goal for today. And then after I do the laundry, then I feel accomplished. And then tomorrow it might be to write 6 chapters, but like, it's always something. Just be realistic with yourself and don't beat yourself up so much. That's what I think everybody like struggles with, beating themselves up for no reason.
Definitely. So. And then this is a question that I ask all of my guests, and it is, why are you a woman who roars?
That's a good question. I think that I've accepted who I am. And I started to really be proud of it. Even the smallest things. Something that I did, was it last year? Maybe the year before, that was monumental for me, was to learn how to be grateful and like express gratitude for like my talents. So I literally wrote down all the things that I like about myself. And once I started making those things like a point to like myself and like those things about myself, it was like I really started thriving with those skills. It's like I wrote down, I was like, yo, be grateful that you funny, girl. Like be grateful. Be grateful that, you have, and I do have confidence, but not always. Sometimes I don't have confidence, The other day, I watch Ozark. I love Ozark. And you watch Ozark?
And Billion too. I see you in
So Ruth, she just posted a couple of days ago saying that she like posted a clip of one of her scenes that she was like yelling and screaming. She's like, oh my God, I was so nervous during this scene. I was like, huh? You were nervous? Oh my God, And I was like, oh my God, I'd be nervous too. So it's like, when you see, somebody do such a great job, and then to know that they were nervous, it's like, I just take those moments and I like really say to myself, like, you may be nervous, you may be scared, just do it. And then something, to answer the question specifically about why I feel like I'm a woman who roars, is like, I literally do what I want to do. What I say I'm going to do, I do it. And I look back, when you look back on it and you like kind of laugh, like that there was a point that you were, before it happened, you were so scared. Like let's say, for example, my book. When I started writing my book, I couldn't see the end of it. I couldn't see now. I couldn't see people buying it, reviewing it, coming to see me for a tour. Like, I didn't know, but I was still doing it. And then it was like, now that it's done and I'm turning my book into a TV series. And I'm like, I just think back to when I was writing the book and I was like, what are you thinking? Like, what are you, And so for me I had to say to myself the other day when I was writing, I'm like, come on now, you really think you're about to turn this into a TV series? And then I was like, 3 years ago, you said to yourself, you writing a book? Like, what? Right. So it's like to look back and see that you started something and finished, and like laugh at all the times that you didn't. I didn't know anybody who wrote a book by themselves. Like, I didn't know any answers. I got every single answer from Google.
By the way, we got 1 minute before IG cut.
Oh, we got.
So I don't want that to cut.
Oh, you were already on. So yeah. Okay, yeah. So I definitely just take it one step at a time and do every single thing that you want to do. Don't make any excuses. If there's a hurdle or obstacle in front of you, it doesn't matter. One step at a time. Cross that bridge when you get there. That's it.
I love it. Thank you. I enjoyed this conversation so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I'll be looking forward to the series. I can't wait to tune in.
Thank you.
All right, Mama. Bye.
Bye.